Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TSM Invitational. Look at that beautiful graphic. My God, it's majestic.
Hi.
This is Neath behind me. Actually, behind you. I'm stupid.
That's
forward.
definitely
Anyways, I was looking. I got excited. All right.
So we're going into game 2.
Game number 1. Initial thoughts, exposed secrets. We're able to take that W here. TSM is going to be on the Chaos side if everything goes according to plan with how we've been seeing it. Looks like TSM will be taking this game because the Chaos side seems to be
the strongest ever.
Just seems to be the strongest, ever. Man. I don't even know what you're supposed to do to combat that, though, right?
I mean, we've
really
seen a pretty good rush so far from this, the Chaos side. Usually starting, in the jungle in the beginning, and then, towards the mid game, they seem to just have a little bit more pressure. We're gonna respectate here. I'm gonna learn how to spell Funball's name.
It's fun and then baller.
I got it.
Nice.
I got it. See, as a non-baller myself, it's not something I usually bring it up.
Yeah, I think you would. You could be a good shoot hooter.
You good? You all right? Everything good?
No, I'm on fumes. We just ate, so I'm like digesting food for the first time
ever.
And like 4 a.m. I have, dude. Like as gamers, man, like we don't see 5 a.m. unless we've been up through the night
exactly.
to see it, right? Like I'm just like drained.
And then even then, you don't remember a lot of it.
No, there's nothing. I don't remember anything.
So game 2 is going to be coming up here. Exposed Secrets does lead the set over TSM 1-0. And they have a chance to clinch this. If they were able to take this, 2 things will happen. 1, they'll eliminate TSM and head on to finals. And 2, it'll be the first win for the day on the Pristine side.
Yep. Which is going to be tough. The order side is very, very difficult to do. But, looking at it now, since, kind of like the bans and picks are actually altered, if you are a fan of Exposed Secrets, you would love to see a Geb ban right away, because if not, they have – TSM has no problem giving up someone big to have Trixtank use his Geb, because he is 5-0 with him already.
They actually traded last game Geb for Mercury, and the Mercury did not pan out.
Yeah, which was really interesting, right? Like, Trixtank – like the interesting thing about TSM, right, is like there's no one like amazing player on their team, right? There's no Azalea, there's no the Boosh, even though the Cogred's a different story. We don't talk about them; they're an exception. But like Trixtank would probably be the one you would say is like the one that everyone talks about.
I would say Game Hunter, but he's not here.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that's what I meant on this roster right here. So you almost want to cater to him.
Yeah,
but. We'll see. What do you think about Zimstar so far?
Honestly, that last game, I think he did great. He missed 1 or 2 Searing Pains that were kind of needed, but honestly, the beam damage was good. He was putting the heals in the right places. He held the lane against Alia. But honestly, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the team that had Geb and was on Chaos side won. You need to mitigate the Geb versus Chaos side.
You just got to have Geb. You got to have Geb. That's it. All right?
Never give Chaos side Geb.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the big thing for me is the ISIS. Like we didn't see a single good ult from Lobster.
Yeah, the circular protections were
basically
basically wasted.
If he used it.
He did. They were just always in the back line. He was using to try to like burst damage down. He wasn't using them to mitigate a lot of damage. We should have seen his Agni. The one thing, I've been casting this game for almost as long as we've been running tournaments,
which is insane.
You're right. This is it's my favorite game, and one of my things that I've always talked about, and this is something that's always dear to me, is the fact that you don't let Agni ever be on Lobster, ever.
No.
And yet he had the opportunity to pick the god that he almost created, and they didn't use it. They went ISIS, they went a different direction, and he just didn't contribute to team fights the way that he was expecting.
I don't understand it. Like, they had 2 humongous picks they could have acquired, and they did it.
I'm looking at Funball, man. What an amazing game from Funball. Huge amount of plays that guy made, and there was just so much damage coming through. And my favorite part is, Smek actually groups up in the backside towards the blue buff, and he's just slamming these ults down from the sky. The amount of damage he put out in that fight turned it around.
How good is Ram, on LAN, right? Like, that third shot is always so good. And taking a look, we are into the picks and bans. That's going to be a Nemesis ban, and now Vamana. Get that baby out of here.
So, as we see on the screen in front of us, Freya is going to be banned as well in just a second here. Nemesis taken away, which I love. She has been doing really, really well.
Yeah, Nemesis is a beast coming out of the jungle, but it does come down to the sides. I think Nemesis is better on the chaos side of things than she is when she's on the order, just because she gets that speed buff, she gets a little bit more active in there,
Right.
and no surprise at all, that is going to be Mercury gone.
Ooh, Zhang Kui going to be picked up here with Nemesis off the table. Team Solomid, this is Geb Rom. I mean, there's no discussion.
Yep,
it has to be Geb Rom.
It has to. There's no way in hell that you can let Geb and Rom go right there.
Right.
There's no one else that can grab. It doesn't matter. And that's huge. Right now, that means we are going to have Trix Tank have his Geb. This all things considering right now, TSM's game to lose.
Ooh, on her Ymir counter. Now, this was a lane that we used to see a lot. Now, assuming that Ymir is going to support, he might be jungle here, honestly, with how well Frostyak has done in the past. But the on her Ymir lane has a lot. I mean, Ymir can set up the on her stuns. He can freeze to ensure that on her can stop getting pressured. I mean, there's a lot of potential between those two characters. Potential that I would really like to see. Right side looks like option over to Team Solomid. Going to be picking up Giannis, which is strong. I mean, this is a character we have not been seeing enough of.
And it's such a good pick for them going into the banning phase because they're not sure if he's going to be a solo or if he's going to find himself in the mid lane, right?
Right.
So now they have to say, okay, which one is it going to be? And they're actually going to ban out Rob because screw his healing.
Thor going to be banned away from Cuvo Fred as well.
Okay.
Cuvo Fred having a notoriously weak game last game and still wound up pretty much topping the charts for his team in terms of damage. I mean, that's just the power of Thor. Looks like we have...
so good. There's just so much damage.
I want to see the Guan Yu come back for Zimp. He did so well with it. And, given the Ymir and the Zhang Kui, being able to shred protections is huge.
Are you... Come on. You
I
want
like it.
Guan
I like
Yu?
it. Bastet, Cuvo,
Okay.
Fred. This is there's probably 3 players in the world that really made Bastet scary, and the only person in EU who was playing this character well was Cuvo. Now she has been not picked or banned a lot. She had a 7% pick ban rate, which is
Not the
curious to
best.
me because she's incredible. She does a
she's
massive
good.
amount of damage. She has great push potential on everything that you could put her for. She
Well,
can
let's
use the
not
cats
start
to
with the
dive
cats,
towers.
okay?
That's what I'm saying. She can
Yeah.
dive towers with the cats. She can throw the cats at the Gold Fury, the Fire Giant to tank it up and reduce damage to her. And not to mention, those things have inherent slows. Huge, huge plays. Left side exposed secrets, Bakasura.
Not a big surprise at all. Baka has made his presence known in the solo lane, and that's going to be a nightmare for anyone TSM's going to throw at him right now. And last coming in with the global presence is going to be Athena. So early on, Athena, very, very imperative that she gets into those fights because after, about that 15 to 20 mark, it's not that she becomes less good, but it's not nearly as impactful as it is in the first 15.
All I'm saying for this final pick is they need someone with movement, and they got to get those beads online. Bakasura is going to lock down with Heavy Hammer. Athena has the global presence, and then the taunt, and then the blinks coming in from Ymir from the jungle. You can't mess with that kind of control. And with that, whoever they pick here has to have movement.
Well, it is going to be Zimstar, and
I like it.
My
I like
God.
it. 7% pick ban rate, 50% win-loss, mainly given to Zimstar.
I hate you.
That's a lot of movement. He has Protection Shred. He has a heal. He has a slow with a dash on it, and then, of course, Cavalry Charge, which will get him out of anything. I think this is a really, really smart pickup.
Wow. Man, I don't know how that team synergizes, though. Looking at TSM, do you think that's a good comp? I mean,
absolutely.
Geb and Rom
Absolutely.
doesn't make any team automatically a little bit better.
Well, they
but
have Janice for the dropship, right, to ensure that Guan Yu can get into fights, not having to use Cavalry Charge or Warrior's Will to close distance. Then we have Bastet, who now has a more escape potential coming out from Stone Shield and coming out from the teleport. I mean, this is massive.
And well, what's scary here is that On Her, right? On Her in the European scene always sees success.
Right.
Always. So when you factor that in, it's like, are we going to see that kind of factor in as well? And, On Her, the big thing is you have to be very aggressive early. You have to be super aggressive early. And with Ymir, they have that ability. Is Rom going to buy beads? Absolutely not. No, he's going to rely on the shield.
Sure.
So Geb has to really use that shield well, and it's Trick's tank.
It's
So
Tricks, man. There's
yeah.
there's no chance of him missing that shield or using it improperly. I mean,
No, there isn't.
this guy's decision making and
Oh, I
is
know.
so natural. And comparatively to a lot of other top players, he doesn't have that many games played. I mean, he probably plays the least of anyone that we see on the table right now. I mean, but he still loves the game. He's just a very busy kid. He's 16, 17 years old. Is going to school. He travels a lot. I think he'll be coming to America very, very soon. In fact, I think next week he's
What?
going to be subbed out for Zimstar.
What for?
I don't know. I remember he was going to go to New Jersey. I was going to take him to a Six
Oh,
Flags.
why would he go to New Jersey of any place
Can
in
you
America?
stop? I like that place. Live in
The
Georgia
armpit
now.
of America.
It was funny. They told me, wait, what is going on?
We're
here?
just catching up. Yeah.
Oh, how interesting. Production
Yeah.
actually telling us that the Spectator client has been updated in a very fun way, albeit not super effective in this current instance. But pretty cool. We're actually going to cut to a quick break while we get caught up, guys, and we'll be back immediately with Game 2 of Exposed Secrets and Team Solomid. Stick around.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. TSM finds himself down 0-1 versus Exposed, and now it is Exposed's turn to stay on the order side of things. Can they pull out this win?
Exposed Secrets actually starting with a Potion of Magical Might on Frostiak as well as Bumba's Mask. Kind of an homage to the previous build, though Hand of the Gods missing, not having enough gold to finish that up as well. This is going to give Frostiak two things. One, incredibly fast jungle clear even without Hand of the Gods, and two, a much stronger mid-game as now he's not just going to be locked into Blink. He'll be able to get Blink and something else and still be very, very strong moving forward.
Frostiak grabbing Ymir is, we saw the ban initially in the first time. First game, they were like, okay, you know what, we're going to honor the fact that you're really good with this god. We're getting him out of there. Now he has him. They are really relying on him to do a very, very good job. But the big story here is that Xayah actually bringing out the Baka.
Right.
And there's a lot of history there.
Right. I mean, he was the first person to have ever brought this character to solo lane in a tournament, and everyone kind of thought he was crazy, and he wound up just demolishing his lane opponents for kind of weeks. It was kind of the fan favorite for a while. It became a little bit overpowered. Then Baka wound up getting buffed, and then no one ever wanted to see him again. And then, of course, got nerfed, fell out of play. And we've recently seen a resurgence of the character, most notably in the hands of NQ in the solo lane, who has done amazing things with Heavy Hammer.
And, Xayah actually able to get that. And, Frostiak is able to get level 2 now as he's going to return into lane, which they will be going up against Zimstar and Cubo Fred. This is going to be a very, very tough matchup. Now, Baka really doesn't have, a phase where it's like, oh, okay, he's going to suck. He's always dominant. And with the Heavy Hammer, it makes him even worse.
Late game, he starts to fall maybe a little bit, but he can still do a significant amount of single target damage, especially if you play him slowly and effectively, not looking to initiate and get, those three-person ganks off, kind of waiting for the beats to be popped and then kind of counter-initiating after with Regurgitate and chasing one or two people down really makes him super strong. Now, Cubo Fred has taken a lot of damage here just from creeps, forced to back off a little bit. You can see he's sitting at just over half health and kind of sticking around in solo lane a little bit longer than most players would have, which is strange because he's wasting a lot of time here, and Zimstar is definitely going to start falling behind. If Bakasura hits 5 before Zimstar does, that could be a kill.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we're here on the other side where Funbar is at, is that, he's like, if I have any chance of winning this game, especially this lane, I need to get an early kill. So instead of worrying about Dev Gloves, he actually throws out the Morningstar first for that extra damage.
Speaking of early kills, Half Devil looking to aggress near the tower. Unfortunately, he has overplayed his hand, has taken far more damage than he had hoped to give away. Now, Frostiak getting close here. They're looking to try to bait Smek. A very curious jump coming out from Funball. Counter-initiate coming through. Smek could be in some trouble.
Oh, the shield! Oh, by the way, you had a perfect gank. Excuse me while the stone shield comes down.
A 3v3 overall. Cubo Fed getting across the map very quickly, albeit with less experience. Doesn't quite get the same amount of pressure that Frostiak would have liked to. You can see on the bottom side, Frostiak now going for the speed buff. Remember, no Hand of the Gods available, so he has to just take the brunt of this. We'll be using his abilities in tandem with his passive Frostbite to ensure that he can do the maximum amount of damage.
Oh, he does have to be careful, Cubo. Nope, not too careful
Cubo
because
doesn't have the
he's got a
pressure.
lot of mobility. But, the one interesting thing I want to talk about here is this mid lane matchup, right? Zhang Kui is the sustain and farm master right now, right? It is very, very difficult to go against him. You almost have to build a Divine Ruin. And is that something we think we're going to see out of Lobster?
There's no way Lobster's going to go into Divine Rule, at least not early enough to make it worth it. And what's crazy is we saw Bastet picked into Zhang Kui, which is curious because this is not a good matchup for Bastet. I mean, if she sends those cats out in the mid lane, one Book of Demons just stops them dead. He can then turn around, card them, and exercise them. They will die off of that, on top of the fact that they'll actually wind up healing him a little bit. And then he'll still have Recall Demons ready to go.
Yep. So he would have to try to miss that card is what he's saying for those of you at home.
Yeah, I mean,
by the way.
honestly, the Exorcism after the Expose Evil, I mean, you can't miss that on things that are chasing you at point-blank range. Now, Hugo is looking for something here on the right side. Is Zalia going to move up? Zimstar trying to bait it. He's trying to find a way. Cuvo, I thought he was going to go there. He's not going to go just yet. They're playing this very safe, but they're wasting a lot of farm time here. I don't know what they're looking for. Zalia baited. I don't know if he knows, but he's baiting this out perfectly.
Yeah, and Zalia, I don't know what's going on with this, but this has bought Frostiak enough time to kind of get up in here. And I think Hugo Fred was actually a little bit scared. Frostiak's going to go. He does have Blink available. There's going to be the beads out, and now Zalia's in a world of trouble. Through space and time is not going to do anything. And now here comes the Regurgitate. Turnaround. Oh, my God, look how much damage Zimstar has taken.
Oh,
and
nice
Frostiak's in trouble.
Lobster getting a huge hit there from the Unstable Vortex, allowing his team to maintain their pressure. I think that whole team fight was just spelled out by Cubo Fred a little bit late right there on the bleed. Didn't get it off the way that he would have liked to, I imagine, onto Bakasura before the jump. Right there, good pressure coming out from Frostiak, using the ult effectively, forcing Cubo Fred back, allowing Zalia to get out of there safely. Zhang Kui a little late to the party, but overall, nothing gained, nothing lost.
That was such an interesting battle right there, right? And by interesting, I mean I have no idea why he didn't gank. I don't know what information he was getting because looking at it, there was no wards on the map. There was no anything, which I guess could have been the only reason to not engage.
Right.
Or maybe he was trying to bait out a jump of Baka's.
He was just waiting for Bakasura to move forward so that he could walk up to Bakasura. That's what he was looking at. What he didn't realize is that if he just would have walked forward and then baited the jump with his own jump afterwards, he would have gained the movement speed, the 25%, and used that effectively to send the cats out, get the bleed on, and he would have gotten the kill, but he played it a little bit too safely. Had he gone in maybe 2 seconds earlier, though, he would have wound up dead because Frostiak did get spotted out there. You saw him come in. Not quite get the damage he was looking for, but now Frostiak has Blink online, which is going to make his gank potential all the stronger.
Not only does he have Blink online, but he also has cooldown reduction boots. He has the Shoes of Focus, so he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. And then on top of that, Fun Baller actually building into Transcendence.
Yeah, this is curious.
I don't get it.
Well, I mean, he wants extra damage. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It gives him a lot of damage. The issue here is that Anhur is not super known for his mana ineffectiveness. I mean, he doesn't use a lot of mana. So he's wasting that entire stat. I mean, someone like Uller could really use that mana effectively. Someone like maybe even Neath, who loves to use abilities. But Anhur, I mean, he's basically just using Impale. Zalia, First Blood, diving the tower with the Regurgitate on the right side, does wind up getting First Blood. Left side camp going to be going to Expose Secrets, but TSM, starting to fall behind a little bit. Overall, it looks like Exposed Secrets does take a pretty big lead right there with 1,000 gold and 1,400 experience off that kill.
And the crazy thing is Zalia, if he really wanted to, he could do some damage to that far right turret, but he's not even going to bat an eye at it. He knows there's going to be a rotation. It's going to be interesting to see what the guys at TSM are going to do. Right now, they don't really seem to have an answer. Zimstar actually electing to go into the Steel Mill. He doesn't want anything else. He has Beads 1, Death Soul, doesn't want any boots or anything. Mobility definitely lacking there from him, but he does have his ult.
Now,
the Cavalry, man.
Exposed Secrets does have a lead here. We've seen the Prestige side in the lead a few times today, but it's always kind of fallen to the wayside. Lobster still has his teleport available to him, not phased at all. Actually throwing out a crazy amount of damage, doing more damage to both Shadow Nightmare and Half Devil than they were able to do to him. even as a percent base, that was a massive play by Lobster. So keeping his lane fresh. Cubo Fred rotates over a little bit late. Are they going to go for it? Slow going to miss. Sprint activated as well, albeit a little bit early. He'll heal himself up, clear the wave, and then I guess get pressured out.
Look how much healing that does, man. It's
Well,
insane.
this is the maximum right now.
Yeah.
Level 9 is like his really big hit. This is where his ult's level 2, exorcism's level 5, and he can put out a ridiculous amount of damage with very little pressure. Doesn't have to worry about wasting the damage on the card. Doesn't have to worry about wasting the Book of Demons for damage. And this is where he really shines.
Yeah, and, you know, on the other side, I mean, Lobster does have to be a little bit worried about that. I mean, he has the blast to really stack him up. Look at that dot damage there, just really ticking away on Lobster. You can see how much damage it actually does, and we do have a rotation here. Frosty trying to get up into the mix here. The wall is down. He misses the freeze, and just like that, that's going to be a failed gank.
I'm surprised to see Frostiak even throw the freeze out there. I really figured he would have saved it once the wall came out because, I mean, Bastet was going to jump there. That was her only option. If he didn't land the freeze there and she stayed against the wall, I mean, the same thing would have happened regardless. He's looking
There's
safe.
going to be a kill for Zalia in the far right lane, and then in the mid lane there was a three-man grouping. They were unable to get Giannis because through space and time is always a fun escape, and now we're going to see them pressure on the mid lane here. This could result into, well, this is going to result in mid harpies if all things go according to plan.
You know, there was a point for a while where we only saw mages in the solo lane. There was a lot of Afro, a lot of Ra, you know, a lot of Jean Quay.
Yeah.
And for a couple games today, you know, we saw Chalk dominate. We're seeing Bakasura dominate. In the last game, we saw Vamana. It really feels like a lot of the warrior and assassin gameplay is really making a return to the lane.
You know, I was getting ready to ask you if, for Frostiak, what should be his next build, right? Because Frostiak is not the most common of junglers we see from the professional side of things, right? So, you know, normally we see our Thors.
Sure.
So, do you like the Adventurer's Blade?
I love it. I mean, it's health, it's movement speed, it's slow immunity, and it's cooldown reduction. This is going to bring him up to 25% total, which is a little bit awkward, considering not many things are going to be able to like cap him effectively without wasting a lot of his gold. Otherwise, if he goes in something like Chronos Pendant or Breastplate of Valor, he's going to wind up overcapping by 10% and paying a lot for a stat that he's not going to get.
So it's a good build.
I mean,
like
yeah. I mean, his weakness, Ymir's weakness, is movement. I mean, it's always been his weakness. So allowing him to gain better movement speed and slow immunity is huge. Now, Butcher's Blade's on the top side. Hand of the Gods into the Eat. That's going to be a steal. Zimstar going to be forced out, and Speed Buff will be on the ground there. It looks like Zalia is trying to keep him locked down, move back over. He's going to get some free experience. Not too much else going on around the map. Top side on the left, it looks like the buffs have respawned. Smet going to be taking up this blue buff. Red buff shouldn't be too far behind.
Yeah, and you know, we haven't seen too many camp steals at all.
No, we haven't.
We haven't seen many invades. Both teams kind of really respecting one another here, as that's going to be the left tower.
It looks like Gold Fury is actually getting pressured right now. Funball and Half Devil are there through space and time. Going to come through. Cubo Fred not using the portals just to make sure that he can walk in safely and not get baited. Jumping away and baiting the damage from Frostiak. Here come the cats.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of damage here. Funballer's able to get one. Can he find another one here? They might just turn and start this Gold Fury again. The cat call is already out. So Geb now, there's a lot of pressure on him. Through space and time is down. Geb's going to blink in here. He's going to try to get in there, not realizing that the Gold Fury isn't even close to being done. He's taking so much damage. Lobster and Zimstar able to find kills, though. This is going to be TSM's Gold Fury.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, they do manage to get it, but Frostiak getting pretty low here. Lobster needs one more hit. He's trying to dodge as best he can, but he's going to get dropped into oblivion and then, of course, dropped to the ground. He's going to go down 4-3 in favor right now of Exposed Secrets, but it looks like... I'm sorry.
Oh, he's crazy.
Did TSM get that? TSM got the Gold Fury. Excuse me.
Yeah, I said TSM got it.
Oh, yeah, they did. That's going to actually not only even up the game in terms of gold, but the experience difference had been normalized as well. Taking a look at the charts, you can see there is a very small difference between the two teams in both regards, which is a huge play for TSM considering how far behind they were. I mean, they were at one point 2,000 gold behind, and after that, they're 500 gold ahead.
Yeah, man. That was nuts. Like, Exposed Secrets, that is going to be the part where we look back on and say that changed the game completely. Right. Because up until then, I was like, okay, Order side is going to win a game here, DM. But now, I don't think they are. I mean, obviously, we're not going to count anyone out. There's no way you even can. There's 12 minutes into the game. You'd
Sure.
be delusional if you were. But, I mean, that's a really big momentum shift.
And if they can use it effectively, it's going to be really, really big. Left side camps looks like they're going to go to Exposed Secrets. Right side getting contended, but they're looking to go in favor of TSM here. I don't think Half Devil's going to make a play.
I thought
He tried,
Frosty.
though.
Yeah, Frosty.
Bless his heart.
And Baka is going to be on the round. I mean, they do have one tower to their name. Baka just really crushing anyone who comes in here. So he's going to be able to just do everything.
Oh,
by
Trix
himself.
Tank in a lot of trouble here. Stuck between 3.
Oh,
no. I don't know why we got excited like that. Damage was going to stop that.
Yeah.
Push 5-4 right now. Exposed Secrets actually normalizes the gold and somehow takes the experience back. Right side again pressuring Zimstar under the tower. Left side pressuring Smek under the tower. Despite the fact that they did lose the Gold Fury, they still have complete control around the map.
Yeah, Zhangkui's going to be pushing mid. Baka is going to be in a little bit of trouble, but it doesn't matter. He's got to jump. He's going to be able to get out of that one. We have the damage buff coming up and the blue buff. Both people are going to go ahead and tend to that, but there is an engagement here in the middle. Zhangkui's going to go down to Lobster, and now just like this, Frosty X here, there's going to be a portal. Cubo Fred is in a lot of trouble. He's going to come back in. Here comes Funbar. That's a lot of damage. Desert Fury just showing how
Regurgitate
damage
actually
it is.
finds him as well. Does he have a portal up? Nice stone shield, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Half Devil taking a lot of damage. Zalia super low as well.
Smek.
And Smek finds a massive shot from the back line. He's running out of mana, though. It looks like Zalia will manage to escape there. TSM finding 2 answers to 2 very serious, questionable dives. And now Frostiak with a beautiful blink should be able to get out of this, and the fight should wash.
And, you know, Zimstar does have to be careful.
what's he
Funbar
doing?
can really box with him. He can really throw some damage. And you could just see it. If he wanted to, he could dive him, but he does have to be careful because
That was
of the
not a
gap.
boxing match. That was a fight. That was just Funball that was Funball just picking on Zimstar. Low mana, no pressure. Trix Tank coming back, going to take a big chunk of his health, even as a tank. And this is something that Onher does very well. I mean, crit damage is very important to all hunters, but at this stage in the game, Geb doesn't have a passive because no one's building it to crit, which means Funball's getting that extra penetration from his passive, allowing him to do a decent amount of damage and push himself into a spot to where he can allow himself to pressure back a normally very tanky Geb.
Yeah, and, you know, in the North American side of things, like, we rarely ever see on her. And I love him. I think his kit is fantastic. The jump's good. The pillar's good. The only problem is you really have to have the right synergy so you can actually
his
blow
late game
people
is
up.
weak, and that's
Exactly, yeah.
You know, in North America, we see a lot of players like Zatman and Snoopy who, you know, they don't rotate as much as maybe some of the EU
true.
ADCs, aside from, of course, Youngbei. We see more, we're going to sit in lane forever. Well, Onher does have decent boxing matchups. His late game is bad because he doesn't have an attack speed steroid. Every top hunter has an attack speed steroid. We're looking at, you know, Artemis was forever on top of the game. Apollo has Audacity. We're looking at, you know, Rama, who has it in his 2, not to mention Astro Barrage. You know, that's the kind of effectiveness that they're looking for.
Well, the right Harpies are going to go in favor here. Zalia not in too much trouble. Frostic's going to turn around.
Stone
The shield's going to be
shield.
there, and this is going to be interesting.
I can't believe we didn't see a cavalry charge there. I
Right?
really thought the horse was coming out.
Well, the one thing that's awesome here is right now Exposed does have improved shell on Athena. So these next team fights are going to be really hard for TSM to get anything going.
You know, it's going to be really hard for them to deal with someone like Frostiak right now, who has 350 health on Wingblade. You know, he has the uncommon Tash giving him 100. You know, Bumba's Mask. Actually, no, it does not give health anymore, excuse me. But he also has the shell now coming out from Athena as well, increasing his protections, 104 health per level, massive amount of defense given to him as a Guardian. I mean, he's going to be very hard to deal with. But again, this is a character that doesn't function very well in the end game. So if they can keep the pressure on for long enough, and Exposed Secrets can't finish the game before 30 minutes, you know, Ymir's not going to play a huge factor unless he hits a 3 or 4 person stun.
They have to keep the pedal to the floor. That's it.
That's it.
They have to really up the intensity, and they just have to push it down their throat. I mean, you're looking at, realistically here, it's 7-6, everything's neck and neck. You're looking for one big Gold Fury fight. And if it goes in their favor.
Draining Blade coming out from Funball, going to be going into Aussie. which is a rather cheap
We haven't
pickup.
seen that in forever.
I mean, not since the nerfed Draining Blade, which was formerly the best item in the game. Now, Draining Blade did lose the former penetration that it had. You don't get that penetration until you finish Aussie, though it does give you the full amount. 15, but that's a lot of lifesteal as well. He's going away from, looks like the Dev Gloves and the Heartseeker and the possible double stacking build to go into Transcendence into Aussie.
And Shadow Nightmare, I mean, he doesn't have anything right now that's going to do a lot of damage, but they're not going to be able to kill him at all. He's going to be able to crush, and that's the thing that's scary about Zhang Kuei.
Oh, Zimstar building into Mystical Mail here. I don't know how I feel about it this time. I mean, look across the way. They have two physicals, one of which is doing true damage. Pressure coming in. You're going to see Funball. It looks like going at Cubo. Fred backed off here. You're going to see Trix Tank and Smek were forced out as we get a rotation coming over from Janice. Right side, the Tier 2 has been destroyed. Great pressure and control coming out right there from Xaylia.
This might be the Gold Fury, and it just reset. Funbar just dropping the ball there. Frostyak can't decide which one he wants to freeze. Baka's going to be in a one-on-one. He's actually going to go ahead and recall. He's going to go back to the base. Frostyak in a lot of trouble. Trickstick with a great blink Cataclysm. There's going to be a lot of damage here. Down goes him. Zhang Kuei getting 2. Frostyak managing to stay alive through space and time, doing some damage. Shadow Nightmare taking on Lobster. Can he do it? He's got the card on him. That's a lot of dot damage. He does have to worry about Guan Yu, though, and he's not able to get that one. Funballer, though, is there to do some damage, and now here comes Baka.
He needed about another second and a half to get off that Book of Demons, which would have resulted in a kill. Athena coming back in full health there. Half Devil actually getting an opportunity to get all the way back and then come back, of course, with that teleport. 3 for 1 there, as we do see Lobster coming back through. That should be a free Gold Fury for the boys on Exposed Secrets. Zimstar does not have Hand of the Gods 3. Half Devil does, so this should be a no-brainer.
Yeah, and for anyone wondering as to why Funballer isn't tanking this, it's because he actually doesn't have Dev Gloves. So, yeah, there's no reason for him to.
But he has 2,000 gold, which means when he goes back, he will have his Aussie if he wishes to finish it. I can't imagine that he wouldn't, though.
Yeah, he's got to finish.
Another 10%.
Yeah, he's got to finish.
Another 10% attack speed. You know, extra lifesteal, and then of course, penetration is massive.
And the Spear of the Magus coming out on Shadow Nightmare is going to be huge. I mean, his card now is going to be crippling people.
Yeah, real hard. I mean,
just ticking away.
You won't be able to fight anymore. If you get hit by that card, you're going to get your protections just eliminated. That's 20 protections on top of 20 more % for 5 seconds.
It's insane.
And you have to consider that his card as a dot lasts for 5 seconds itself. So effectively, if you get hit by that card, you're losing protections for 10 seconds.
Do you like the fact that Cubo Fred's going for absolutely no defense at all?
Yes. I mean, this is the way you do it. Bastet, you build into the CDR with Jotuns, and then go right into the Titan's Bane, giving yourself a lot of damage. Make sure your cats are swinging harder. Don't forget, people at home, she has 100% scaling on all 3 of her abilities. So the better damage you get, the better it's going to be. I would also, next item, it has to be hi-rez. Full hi-rez Lament's going to cap her CDR, giving her more damage. It's going to give her 50 damage out the gate as well, which works great with her 100% scaling, on top of the fact that it's going to give her that passive, allow her to jump in, hit one shot, cancel it into the bleed, jump back. That is a massive, massive play, and it will give her enough damage to sustain through the endgame.
And we are going to be seeing a staff coming out of Frostyak. Now, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And Frostyak's going to benefit from this a lot. Now,
I think this is the first time we've seen this item where it is appropriate.
Yeah, used correctly. I was getting ready to say, in North America, we see Roz build it like, second, third item sometimes.
Oh, Cataclysm coming out. A lot of trouble. We see Trix Tank forced away here. Nice stun coming onto Cubo Fred, forcing the beats. Low mana. Cubo Fred is completely out of mana. Doesn't have enough to jump. Stone Shield's not going to save him there. He's going to go down. Both he and Frostyak will fall, so the junglers are out of the fight. Half Devil and Shadow Nightmare taking a massive amount as Xaylia actually forces away Lobster, ensuring he can't find the unstable Vortex for the kill. But they're super low. If Trix Tank can get a knock up, this could be good.
Yeah, they definitely need that. Funbar has to be a little bit carry.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's called...
My man just actually jumped
the
out of oblivion.
Yeah, no, he basically jumped out of death. And look at him. He's barely missing the max range there, so he does still have to be careful. Oh, my God. It's right there. Xaylia could jump and go in on it, and the taunt's going to barely miss.
Ooh,
oh, no, that's going to be no
rough.
engagement. Yeah, that's always heartbreaking. That's the worst, is when you just barely miss it. And that's going to do it for that fight. I mean, Funballer really, really is making his presence known here.
So we're going to have still a major grouping here, 3-on-3 in the mid lane. I think advantage, though, goes to the boys in TSM. While Funballer has some decent damage, Zalia doesn't really have a way to set damage up. Slows are going to be broken by the Stone Shield, and then Half Devil, of course, has the taunt, but I don't know if it's enough. Left camp immediately going to the boys when exposed.
Yeah, and Zalia actually getting the height of the Urchin up. That's going to be humongous for them. You know, they do it. They have a shell. They have some hands. They have heavenly agility.
Oh, Blinken. This is a lot of pressure here. We're going to watch Frosty. A huge ult coming through. Trix Tank takes a big hit as Zimstar dives into the tower. They're trying to find something here. Smek already picked off. Zalia actually gets traded out, but Cubo Fred will go down as well. Through space and time, doing decent damage. To recall, Demons goes off. Lobster's dead. Frostiak just barely managing to live.
Yeah, that looked like a great engagement from TSM, but they weren't able to follow it up. They weren't able to come out on top. The dot damage on Zimstar, and there's going to be the Stone Shield to erase everything. Geb, I hate you.
Every single time that happens, I want to do one of those anime falls out of my chair. You know what I'm talking about? Surprise time. It's very important. Oh, I don't know
what is this?
What Half Devil's doing here, and I don't know how he got out of that, and they still managed.
He's crazy.
They are absolutely out of their minds.
Well, he has no mana. I guess he's looking at it as, oh, well, I guess I can't get knocked up. But Funballer showing that his cojones are quite large.
That was a pretty brave play, to say the least. Very, very smart. Actually kept him locked down, kept Trix Tank from farming, and now look at this. He'll be able to go over to the right side where there's actually an advantage in creeps in terms of his team. He might be able to move this one up. You know, he's going to gain a lot of experience here, and then maybe have an opportunity to go for some tower damage.
Yeah, and you know, it's not every day that we see the mid lane tier 1 go before the duo lane tier 1. Any of them, right? So, solo lane, that's about average to be the first one to go down. Things can go really far south there, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, the Smek versus Funballer, I mean, Smek's down 2 levels. Funballer's still very, very explosive. He's got some money on him as well, so Smek does have to be very careful.
Honestly, the builds aren't all that different, though. Funballer has a little bit more damage in the long run. But aside from that, there really isn't much to consider aside from the levels. But Smek, 450 gold in hand. Funball, 2,100 gold in hand, which means that Deathbringer's close.
Yep. And he was able to catch one in the wall there, which is going to be Bastet, so she's going to be able to hop out of that one, no worries. And this is a potential Gold Fury here. Funballer possibly baiting out, assuming, I guess thinking maybe there's a ward. He's going to run right into Guan Yu. Zimstar is going to be eating this here. He needs to hit these auto attacks. This is going to be a full-blown grouping, as this is going to be a one-on-one. He gets the stun into the wall. Meanwhile, on the other side, Shadow Nightmare all up in the action. He's able to find one. Down he goes. The wall is going to prevent Guan Yu from going anywhere. Frostiak's going to do a lot of damage there. Funballer able to stay alive. He's going to be able to chase. Desert Fury is down, so he's not going to have that damage. Guan Yu's about to go down.
Zimp using that Tallow Assault effectively, giving himself enough protections to stay along for a very long time. 2 for 1 right now. Exposed Secrets somehow getting the better of Team Solomid in an amazing engagement for the TSM guys. But unfortunately, you know, looking at the builds here, again, no shell versus shell dictates the win.
Yep.
We look at TSM, they just didn't have the sustainability. Zalia keeping himself alive for a long time right there. Funball forced to jump out this time as they turn to Frostiak. A Stone Shield not going to do enough. A 1-for-1 trade there as they continue to pressure. Where are we going to see here?
Rest in pieces. Trix Tank, are you up next? You don't have your escape, buddy. Well, they have the speed to catch him down. Funballer does not want to jump on this. This is going to be a rotation back to the Gold Fury. Trix Tank forced to possibly contest this. He doesn't want to be too far behind here, but it looks like that's going to be what happens. He's going to give up an easy death here if he goes in, and now Half Devil's going to be there, throws a taunt, forces him out, and that's going to be the Stone Shield as well.
Yeah, they actually popped the bubble too, which is really, really strong. Trix Tank not going to have that one. This thing's still not dead. It looks like Half Devil will be able to pick it up, though. Honestly, what I was looking at there, I'm very, very surprised to not see more pressure coming out. I think they could have picked up Trix Tank. I think Cubo Fred also could have done a little bit more than he did in that fight. I'm not sure if his ultimate was up then. It definitely is up now. He had a good amount of control, and that bleed damage could have been a lot. He maybe could have picked up Bakasura there, but he just didn't see it, at least not in that regard. And now that's going to spell a bad look right now for the guys on TSM. Exposed Secrets up 6,000 gold, 9,200 experience, with 3 people being level 20. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's huge. And you know, that's the rage now in Funballer's hands. So that's next is going to be Deathbringer, and at that point,
no,
TSM
next is going to be Execution. No, he doesn't need any more penetration. This could be Oboe, or this could be Chin Size. but he already has Aussie. He doesn't want Executioner here. He has penetration on Aussie, he has penetration on his boots, and penetration from his passive. He doesn't really need any more.
Frostek has to be careful. Shadow Nightmare is going to be there. A Great Wall is going to be there. This might be an engagement as well. Shadow Nightmare going all the way in there. The Fire Giant's going to be poked as well, and now they're going to be able to rotate out. Frostiak almost getting caught, which could have changed a lot. Meanwhile, Baka all the way up by himself. You can kind of take a look here. Smek getting away with barely any health. This is going to be a Tier 1 and possibly a Tier 2 as there's a full grouping over on the Fire Giant side.
I like the split push. They have maybe not the best engagement here. Oh, right side, actually, this could be really good, but Frostiak already super low. Zalia has to stay the course and get the Tier 2. Zimstar rotating in, looking to try to find a line to Frostiak, but doesn't find it. Left side, they do manage to get the Tier 2, so another 1,500 gold given.
Dude, Zalia is playing out of his mind. He's doing everything right that he possibly can. He's rotating well, he's dominating his lane, and now he's going to rotate into the middle of the map. He's going to clear up a couple waves here, and now he's going to get all ready for the Fire Giant fight, which is going down right now. The dot damage coming in from Shadow Nightmare. There's going to be an engagement. There's going to be the Stone Shield. It's going to be able to protect him. Lobster's going to be hit. This is going to be dangerous. Zalia now focusing on Trick Tank. That's unusual.
Oh, right there, that was big. They took out Shadow Nightmare. They forced out some ultimates. They only have one themselves, but Frostiak finds Smek over on the side. Left side looks like Cubo Fred just trying to juke around, forced into a bad spot, able to jump just barely before it goes off, but Zalia picks up a free one, gives another one, hand-delivered to Fumball, and Zimstar by himself really does not have an opportunity to push forward. Oh, in the mid lane, though, look at Trix Tank. He's trying to push. He's trying to farm up a little bit, not giving his team proper pressure. The bubble's back up, which means the freeze isn't going to help there. They're just really looking for slows and damage, and with that heavy hammer, he has enough.
Oh, yeah, and Frostek actually building a Void Stone, which is going to do very, very well with Zhang Kui, so this team's playing so well. I love the synergy of it, and we actually might have an order win here.
You know, a lot of people expected Exposed Secrets to come in and maybe not do as well as they're doing. TSM is super strong. Same thing from last time. A lot of people expected Mortality to blow SK out of the water, and we're seeing this very similarly to how we saw at the last LAN event, and it really seems that that 4th seed spot is a blessing.
Yeah? You see, that's what's so unusual, because coming from like the FPS side of things, like when you're the lower seed normally gets slapped.
Right.
Yeah. And I know like lower seed obviously, but like, you know, esports is a lot different. You know, you see like the group D coming out of that one, like the group of death, that always, you know, someone normally wins the event from there just because the matchups are so hard.
Right.
Oh, wow. What can you do here? And so that's going to be a Spear of the Magus here on Lobster, working towards possibly a Chronos here, which is actually kind of late coming out of a Giannis.
I want to see this be built into Soul Reaver, honestly. I mean, we want to see this get in as fast as possible. Finishing up with Chronos, like you said, would be an amazing, amazing thing. Really, I would have liked to see it earlier. I mean...
Yeah. Like a third item.
Yeah, you want to get that extra damage off as much as possible. More pressure coming out into the mid lane. They get about a little less than half the tower's health there for a decent amount of pressure. I mean, they really didn't have to commit too much to that. A little bit more of that, and they're going to have that thing down in a heartbeat, and then it's on to Phoenixes because there are no other Tier 2s remaining, and you can see that reflected in the gold.
They're giving it up.
Yeah, I mean, 10,600 gold in favor of Exposed Secrets right now, and with Fire Giant, I have no idea why they're not just diving this. There we go.
Finally, Funballer's just going to shred through. I mean, TSM gave up completely. They're like, okay, you can have this one. We have to fight at the Phoenix, which always makes sense, right? You always want to have your back against the Titan. And so they're going to push this wave out. And now I'm assuming what Exposed Secrets is going to do is push out the left lane, possibly go for this Gold Fury, then push out the right lane, and then find themselves back into the mid lane and just try to force the fight that way.
Looks like Gold Fury's blinking and has respawned. Funball going to tank this one up with Aussie. Easy peasy. It looks like they're going to take another 1,500 gold on top of the Tier 2. That's going to put them up to almost 14,000 gold, as well as basically 1 million experience. Level 18 Half Devil is the only person not level 20 on the team right now in Exposed Secrets. TSM has 2 level 20s, and Trix Tank all the way at the bottom there at 15.
Yeah, and you know, Zimstar being 19, which is very, very unusual seen since the solo. I mean, you get the solo experience.
Right.
It normally means you should have a little bit of a lead going into it. Now, he did go with Enfeebling Curse, Zimstar.
So he's trying to slow down Zalia's attack speed, Fumble's attack speed. The only really amount of healing is, some lifesteal, and then of course they have Shadow Nightmare Seal from Exorcism. Really not all that much. So the Enfeebling Curse actually super smart right now because Zalia, I mean, that's a character you need to stop. He is at 17,900 player damage, and that's single target. But Funball at 25k?
That's even more stupid. That's why we saw it on her ban that first game, man. Yeah. In EU, he makes his presence known. And it seems there's going to be a grouping here. They did not push the right side. In comes Half Devil, misses the taunt. Dot damage down on Trickstank here. And now there's going to be the Stone Shield. Yeah, they know that's going to be down. Are they going to go for the push? This Phoenix is just getting shredded by that Fire Giant. In comes a Blink Cataclysm by Trickstank. Barely any follow-up here as now Zimstar is just going to get annihilated. He manages to stay alive, though. And down he goes to Half Devil.
That's going to be... That might be it. I mean, they just lost Cuvo as well. Zalia finding it. Frostyak blinking through the back and making Smek put himself into a bad spot. Unstable Vortex will do a small amount of damage as they turn into the mid lane where Zalia will take the Phoenix. It looks like they're going to go for all three. Half Devil tanking it up. Zalia doing a ton of damage, 58 per hit, in fact, at a lightning fast attack speed. We're seeing 80 come out from on her. And then, of course, the double hits from Zhang Kui. All three Phoenixes taken down, and I have no idea why they're not trying to end the game right now.
I think they're going to reset and go for another Fire Giant, but looking at that, the only ultimate that was up was Smek's.
Right.
And obviously in that position he has the chance to actually do a lot of damage, but I could not tell you why they went back. I mean, that was a 5-on-3. That's a simple numbers game,
Not to mention every tower and every Phoenix is down, making the Titan super, super weak.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have blown that up very quickly. I think they're just trying to look to maybe not throw, but with 6 towers up and the Fire Giant not up for a minute from that point, the risk versus reward of reset off deaths or win the game, I mean, I think I would have taken that.
Dude, Zalia bought a Deathbringer.
Well, the only issue here is that he doesn't have any other crit. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, he does. He does have Rage. Okay, no, that is just scary.
Yeah, all eyes on Zalia in this next team fight. I want to see how much damage he's going to do.
Look at Frostyak. Look at this guy. It's like, I'm going to aim myself at you while you watch me do your speed buff.
Right? Oh, yeah, no. He doesn't care about anything right now.
Fire Giant's up. Funball has started it, hitting it for over 300 per hit right there before he got mitigated out.
Is
looks
this
like he's
real
going to
life?
rotate in. Trickstank looking to blink.
Hey, look at this.
He's
look at
slowed.
this. Zalia potentially going in. The Regurgitate's down. He's actually going to be going for the one-on-one versus the Titan. There's enough stall here. Look how bad he is just shredding into this. 222 damage on this. Barely taking any. The one-on-one with the Titan. And this is going to be it.
It's real close. He has the fire minions inside. It looks like Zalia and the boys are going to take it. And the first win for Order will spell the elimination of Team Solomid as Exposed Secrets will move on to the finals to face against SK Gaming.
Yep, they are now 1 for 4, the Order side of things, my man. Exposed Secrets, though, looking very, very sharp. Getting ready to go into the grand finals. And this is going to be big. Now, did you like the play by Baka to just kind of run straight down instead of even looking at the Fire Giant?
That's the joust meta where you wait until your opponent goes into the jungle and then you regurgitate your minions on towers or phoenixes or titans and you just blow it up before they can react. And with 5 people there for TSM and 4 people from Exposed Secrets just stopping them from going back repeatedly, Zalia finds himself enough damage to allow his creeps to get in there, and he takes a quick win for his team.
Now let me ask you this: going into this next matchup, right? SK, they looked really good. They won on both sides of the chaos. Now, coming over to this one, where Exposed was able to win from the Order, but all things besides that, who are you favoriting going into this grand finals?
Neither team, I think, has major footing from the SPL, while Exposed Secrets does have a larger win ratio.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, SK seems to have been playing better, and then you go to the fact that at the last LAN event, they beat the first seed and then beat the third seed to take the win. Today they've beaten the first seed, so I think this is maybe a coin flip.
Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hop to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the finals. Stay tuned.